Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're heading to a really legendary city in Rajasthan, India, Chittorgarh.
Yeah, Chittorgarh. Its name just, well, it resonates, doesn't it? Centuries of history, bravery, sacrifice.
Exactly. And it's home to what many say is India's largest fort. So that's our focus today, a deep dive into Chittorgarh.
Right. Our mission, if you like, is to really unpack all those layers of history, explore the meaning behind that massive fort,
Mhm.
and get into the stories, the sagas that make Chittorgarh such a powerful symbol, not just some old ruins. We've got some great sources to draw on.
Yeah, a rich tapestry, as you say. We're going to trace it right back to its ancient roots, look at the really dramatic medieval
The
stuff.
sieges, the Jauhar.
Yeah, all of that. And then the fort itself, its structure, and connect it all to the culture today, what Chittorgarh means now.
Sounds like a plan. Where do we start?
Okay, so let's set the scene first. Chittorgarh today, it's actually a pretty busy city, right? The headquarters for the district.
It is, yeah. But historically, it was huge. The ancient capital of the Mewar Kingdom. So its origins.
What do the sources tell us? How far back are we talking?
We're talking way back, 7th century, apparently founded by a Mauryan ruler, Chitranggana Maurya.
Chittorgarh Moria, okay.
And its original name wasn't Chittorgarh, it was Chitrakoot. That name sort of evolved over time into Chittor.
Interesting. And it wasn't just one dynasty holding it.
No, not at all. That's part of its complex story. You had the Mauryas first, then the Ghosts took over, and later the Sasodias. Each left their mark.
Right, building on what was there before. And I guess the most visible mark is the fort itself.
Absolutely. The heart of Chittorgarh.
When we say India's largest fort, that's quite a claim. What does that actually mean in practice? And why the UNESCO status?
Well, the sheer scale is just staggering. 700 acres. Think about that.
700 acres.
Yeah. Perched high up on a hill, naturally defensible, but then massively fortified. It wasn't just a fort. It was like a fortified city.
Built to withstand anything, basically.
Exactly. A real strategic masterpiece for its time. And
Yeah.
the UNESCO World Heritage listing that recognizes its outstanding universal value. It's a testament to that long history, the architecture, the events that happened there.
And the defenses included those famous gates, right? 7 of them.
That's right. 7 main gates, each one a serious obstacle. You had Padapol, Haravpol, Hanumanpol, Kaneshpol, Jorlapol, Lakshmanpol, and the final main gate, Rampol. Getting through all of those was a major undertaking.
Wow. And inside those gates, it's like stepping back in time, isn't it, with all the monuments?
It really is a gallery of history, like you said. You've got the Kirti the Tower of Fame, that's 12th century, linked to Jainism.
And the other tower, the bigger one?
The Vijay Stam, the Tower of Victory, built later, 1448, by Maharana Kumbha to celebrate a major military victory. It's truly iconic.
Mm-hmm. And you also mentioned the Mirabai Temple.
Yes, dedicated to Mirabai, the famous poetess and devotee of Krishna. Her story is woven into the fabric of Chittorgarh.
Such a powerful figure.
Definitely. And there's more, too, like the Kalika Mata Temple, the Fateh Prakash Palace, now a museum, I believe, and Rani Padmini's palace, which connects to one of the most famous and tragic stories.
Right. So we have this incredible foundation, this massive fort, impressive monuments. But you mentioned the stories resonate almost like legends. Why is that? What makes Chittorgarh's history feel so intense?
I think it boils down to the medieval period. The repeated invasions, the sieges.
And the response to them.
Exactly. The sheer bravery, the sacrifice, and of course the Jauhar. The mass self-immolation by the women to avoid capture and dishonor. That's really the core of the legend.
Hard to even comprehend.
It is. It speaks to a cultural code where honor, especially for the Rajput women, was valued above life itself when faced with subjugation. It wasn't just a tragic end. It was seen as an act of defiance that inspired generation.
And Chittorgarh faced this how many times?
3 major devastating sieges where Jauhar occurred. Each one is a story in itself.
Let's walk through them. The first big one was Alauddin Khilji, right? Early 14th century.
That's the one, 1303. The story goes, Khilji was obsessed with the beauty of Rani Padmini, the wife of Earl Ratan Singh.
So that desire fueled the invasion.
That's the legend, yes. It ended tragically. Ratan Singh died fighting, and Rani Padmini led the women in the first recorded Jauhar at Chittorgarh. Hundreds of women sacrificed themselves.
Unbelievable. And the second time?
That was much later, 1535. This time, the attacker was Bahadur Shah of Gujarat.
Who led the defense then?
Maharani Karnavati. She led a valiant resistance, even sought help from the Mughal Emperor Humayun, though it didn't arrive in time. The fort fell, and the second Johar took place.
Another wave of sacrifice. And the third, you called it the most terrible.
Yes, Akbar's invasion in 1567-1568. This time, the ruler, Maharana Uday Singh II, actually left the fort beforehand to preserve the lineage, leaving his commander, Jamal Rathore, in charge.
Jamal led the defense.
He did, fiercely. But the Mughal forces were overwhelming. When Jamal fell, defeat was inevitable, leading to the third and largest Johar. It was a terrible slaughter, followed by the self-immolation.
Wow, just devastating.
It really was. And this sequence of events fundamentally changed things for Mewar. After Akbar took Chittorgarh, the capital was moved.
To Udaipur, right?
Exactly, strategically established in Udaipur. And this really sets the stage for the next iconic figure, Maharana Pratap.
Ah, Maharana Pratap. His struggle against the Mughals is legendary in its own right.
Absolutely. His entire life became about resisting Akbar and trying to reclaim Mewar's lost glory, including Chittorgarh. His story is, deeply connected to the legacy of defiance forged in those terrible sieges. It's all part of that continuum of resistance and honor.
So the sieges are central. But Chittorgarh's history isn't just about tragedy. There were periods of flourishing, too, and other key figures shaped its legacy. We mentioned Maharana Kumbha and the Vijay Stam.
Right. Maharana Kumbha wasn't just a warrior. He was a great patron of arts and architecture. His reign saw a real cultural boom. The Vijay Stam is just one example.
Who else stands out?
Well, there's Maharana Sangha, another really formidable warrior king who famously fought against Babur, the founder of the Mughal Empire at the Battle of Kanwa, embodied that Rajput warrior spirit.
So, military leaders, patrons of art.
And spiritual figures, too. We can't forget Mirabai again. Her devotion to Krishna, her poetry, it adds a whole different dimension to Chittorgarh's identity. Her temple there is a testament to her enduring influence.
It's this mix of warfare, art, and spirituality that makes it so rich. How does all that history translate into the culture you find there today?
It's quite tangible, actually. You see it, or rather you hear it and feel it in the folk culture.
Like the music and dance.
Exactly. The folk songs often tell these old stories. There's the Gavari, which is a kind of tribal folk theater, very dramatic. And of course, the Ghumar dance, which is famous all over Rajasthan, but has strong roots here.
Right. Ghumar is beautiful.
It is. And these aren't just tourist performances, they're part of the living tradition. Plus, the local language, Mewari, carries a lot of that cultural identity.
And what about festivals? Do they commemorate the history?
Oh, absolutely. There's the Jauhar Mela, which is quite unique. It's held annually, specifically to commemorate the sacrifice of Rani Padmini and the other women. It's a very solemn, respectful event.
A direct link to that painful history.
Yes. But there's also celebration. The Mewar Utsav is held in spring, full of color, music, and joy. And then you have the major Indian festivals like Diwali, Holi, Gangwar, the Tijaji Mela. They're all celebrated with local flavor, keeping the city's spirit alive.
So, bringing it up to the present day, Chittorgarh isn't just a historical monument site, is it?
Not at all. It's a living city, a significant district headquarters, as you said earlier, and it has its own modern economy.
Industries.
Yeah, particularly cement production, also zinc and stone quarrying. So it's evolved from that ancient capital into a center of modern economic activity, too.
And for visitors, it remains a major draw.
Hugely important. It's one of the key tourist destinations in Rajasthan. If you're planning a trip, it's pretty accessible.
How do you get there?
The nearest airport is Udaipur, which is about 100 kilometers, maybe a couple of hours drive. And it's well connected by train and road as well. So, yeah, it's definitely a place that welcomes visitors wanting to connect with that history.
Good to know.
And it's not just about tourism or industry. It's also focused on the future through education. There are plenty of schools, colleges offering technical courses, professional degrees. So it's investing in its people, too.
It sounds like a place deeply connected to its past, but also looking forward.
I think that sums it up well. What really stands out from, digging into all this is how Chittorgarh endures as this potent symbol
of valor and sacrifice.
Exactly. Valor, bravery, sacrifice. And that really complex concept of honor, especially women's honor in that context. It's not just a spot on a map. It's deeply embedded in the cultural soul of Rajasthan and India as a whole.
So for you, listening to this, learning about Chittorgarh, or maybe even visiting, it's a chance to connect with something profound, isn't it?
Yeah.
To draw inspiration from these almost unbelievable stories of human endurance.
Yeah, it's humbling, really.
Definitely. And maybe a final thought to leave you with. As you think about Chittorgarh, about its history of resilience and sacrifice. What lessons can we actually draw from that spirit today? Not just thinking about conflict, but about how we preserve culture, how we maintain identity in a world that's constantly changing.
That's a really interesting question to ponder. How does that legacy inform us now?